here lately I've been on this real big kick of Resident Evil. Like, I've been thinking about the Resident Evil, not, well, the games, but the story and the characters and the intricacy of how everything's woven together. Resident Evil Village really brought that to a head for me because of Chris Redfield. Like, the development of that character throughout the 20 plus years of Resident Evil, going from like kind of like the hair trigger, kind of like rookie member of STARS being thrown into this whole thing, and then up developed into the boulder punching, huge BSAA agent, and into what he becomes in Village, where he says so much without saying anything. There's that scene toward the end of the game with him just sitting in the truck, lighting one up, listening to the radio, and I was like, man, the way this is shot, you can see, like, if you're a fan of the series, you can see like all of this stuff just written on his face, like, the far off stare and everything. You can kind of hear it in his voice, the experience. If you're a fan, you followed the games, especially the ones that he's been in. But it made me think about the future of Resident Evil and where it's going to go, Resident Evil 9, and what they're going to do. Like, I'll be honest, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, as a lot of you that follow the channel know. I wasn't the biggest fan of Resident Evil 7, right? Biohazard. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Village, I loved. I loved Village, and I thought it had the best ending of any Resident Evil game ever. My best ending, because a lot of Resident Evil endings are kind of like just quick. They're flying off in the helicopter, then some piano music credits, and then you unlock this, you unlock that. That's cool. That's what it is. That's what Resident Evil is, right? But the ending of Village ended on kind of a cliffhanger. The ending with Ethan. I wasn't a big Ethan fan up until the last moments of that game. And I thought that was powerful. That was very profound. And what sets Resident Evil apart, games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, what sets them apart from other like horror games and even horror movies and horror in general, is that it's super character driven. Like, it's a character driven narrative. And in the future of Resident Evil, I really want them to see them lean in hard with that. And some characters that I would love to see them focus on and get back to would be like Jill Valentine. Albert Wesker's gone, or is he? The thing with Resident Evil here lately is I feel that from the villain standpoint, like a main villain or whatever, there's not really this clear-cut main villain that is savvy, that makes you care about what's going on. There's just more than just an antagonist, just more than a thing to take down at the end of the game. Village suffered from this. The Bakers I thought were pretty good, but since Wesker checked out in the games, I haven't really felt like the narrative has been two-sided, right? Even William Birkin and characters like that really brought like a nice heft and a nice weight to the story from the villain standpoint. And then, of course, you've got the protagonists. You've got Barry Burton, you've got Jill Valentine, you've got Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, even the sub-characters like Steve from Code Veronica and some of the other characters that you run into and intermingle with. They're all great characters. And I put out that tweet last night. I was like, wouldn't it be wild if Vince Gilligan, who I think writes some of the best characters on television, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, he does such a great job writing characters. What if he did like an HBO Max or like a AMC show of Resident Evil? I mean, think how good those characters would be. But in the future of Resident Evil, I would love to see a return to the tank controls and the fixed camera angles. I really like the direction they've gone in. I'm cool with it. It is what it is. It's a natural evolution of the gaming series. I get all that. But I would love to see one, like if they do like the Revelations games, right? Resident Evil Revelations. If they do like a Revelations 3, outside of the main line, outside of the main numbered Resident Evil games, I would love to see a return to the tank controls, the fixed camera angles, because it really made it feel like a horror movie. you didn't know what was around the corner. You know, you don't know what's coming from this other angle that you can't see because the camera's fixed in a certain position. I thought that was a beautiful way to do the games. It's what really drew a lot of people in. Now, people do complain about the tank controls, and I understand that. But when you just look at the beauty of how like Resident Evil Remaster from 2001 pulls it off, how they pull off the fixed camera angles and the lighting, and there's so many camera angles when you enter a room. There's just a candle right there, like right there. You know, you've got the lights in the ceiling. It looks like a horror movie. It looks so good, and I really miss this. And this is, of course, a cutscene from Remaster, and Remaster still, to this day, my favorite Resident Evil gameplay experience. I love this game so much. I can still play through it. I can still have a great time with it. But look at these angles. Look at the gameplay angles. Right there. That shot right there. This is a horror movie that you play. In Resident Evil Village, don't get me wrong, there are some scary parts. If y'all haven't seen my Jelly Baby reaction, get away from me, Jelly Baby. Go check that out. But yeah, it still pulls off the horror, but the whole game doesn't feel like a horror game. It feels like I'm going through like an action game with horror elements. The old Resident Evil games, these tank controls, the whole game is a horror movie that you're playing through. I miss that. I love that. Now, that being said, I don't see them going back to these tank controls. I miss it, I would love it, but I don't see them going back to this. However, I am developing an affinity for the first-person angle. I'm not good with first-person games. I've got like vertigo issues, and sometimes like after I'm playing for 2 or 3 hours, I do have to take a long break and even kill the stream. But Village didn't do it too bad to me, actually. I think it's something to do with the frame rates and how they're running them on the current games. But back in PS2, GameCube era, if I played a first-person game, even PS3, an early PS4 era, if I played an FPS game, I need a puke bucket next to me because I'm getting really nauseous. And that being said, I think you all see where I'm coming from with the tank control thing. The future of Resident Evil 9, whenever they start announcing that, whenever they start dropping images and things for that, I think it'll be wonderful. I think it's going to look great. I'm really intrigued by where the story's going. I really want to see them bring Jill Valentine into the story. I know we just got Resident Evil 3 remake, Nemesis remake, about a year ago. We got that game to mixed reviews. I thought it was okay. I would have loved to see them flesh out the city more, but it is what it is. It was still a fine game. I didn't enjoy it as much as Resident Evil 2 remake. Personally, for myself, I thought Resident Evil 2 remake was fantastic. Resident Evil 3 remake didn't hit me as hard, and I thought they had real potential to do something bigger and better. But that being said, moving forward, I want to see Jill Valentine. Put Claire Redfield in a meaningful role in the games. You know what I mean? We get Leon all the time. We've been getting Chris. Of course, we got Chris in Resident Evil 5. We got him in Resident Evil 6. We got him in Village. So I think we'll probably get Chris in Resident Evil 9 as well, because it's BSAA stuff, and it's well, obviously he was watching Ethan's kid. You know, he was kind of watching over her. Bring Barry back. We got Barry in Revelations 2. Bring Barry back. You know, there's so many different ways you could go in this. And if you stumble into a forgotten Umbrella lab somewhere and there's a clone of Albert Wesker in there and he reactivates and he goes out into the wild, I'm not going to be mad about that. I'm not going to be mad about that because I do miss Albert Wesker. But I miss the smooth, nice suit Albert Wesker. Not the Matrix Resident Evil 5 Albert Wesker. He was okay, but he was way over the top. Like, he was way over the top. Like, I liked his appearance in Code Veronica because he was overpowered. He was OP as hell, but it was like in a grounded kind of way, if that makes sense. In Resident Evil 5, it was just off the charts. Like, he would have killed Chris and everybody immediately with how powerful and out of nowhere his abilities were. So, I miss grounded Wesker. I still argue that Resident Evil 1 Wesker is prime Wesker. That's the best Wesker, in my opinion. But I just love Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2. They just have such a special place in my heart. that those games are just hard to top in general for me. But anyway, let me know what you all think. Future of Resident Evil, where does it need to go? Let me know. Let's have a conversation about it in the chat. Follow me on Twitter right there. It's right there. It's right there. Twitter and Instagram. It's right there. You can follow me right there at Coffman20XX. Down at the bottom, consider becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube member. You can see the animation down there in the bottom. And it's great hanging out and talking with you all about this stuff. Let me know. Resident Evil. I'm getting hyped for Resident Evil for no reason, right? I know we got some DLC for Village coming at some point, but I'm really getting hyped for Resident Evil for no reason. And it's not even the season. It's not even really Resident Evil season to me. You know what I mean? I consider that fall, not necessarily Halloween, but fall, like when the leaves are starting to turn. I want to play some Resident Evil. I'll pop in Resident Evil, like the CG movies from Capcom, not those Paul W.S. Anderson movies. I don't really watch those, but I don't even think I saw the last two, and I'm a huge fan. But let me know what you all think. Hype time for Resident Evil? Is it hype time, or is it time to put it back in the freezer? Is it time to put it back in the morgue for a little while until we start seeing some trailers? For me personally, anytime's a good time to get hyped for Resident Evil. I could play those first two games any day of the week. Code Veronica, any day of the week, baby. So anyway, y'all have a great night. Be safe, be good to each other. Keep rocking. I will see you all in the next video. Get hyped for Resident Evil, baby. Get hyped.